Welcome again, my dear students, to the third part of our revision. In this part, we are going to deal with modal verbs. It's divided into two parts. Part 1. What are modal verbs? Modal verbs like can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, would, and ought to. They are auxiliary verbs that provide additional and specific meaning to the main verb of the sentence. Modal verbs are sometimes referred to as modal auxiliary verbs because they help other verbs. How do we use modals? For example, Mary could play video games. Modal verbs do not accept conjugation. They don't need other auxiliary verbs. How to form auxiliary verbs? There is no S in singular. There is no do or does in the question. There is no done or doesn't in the negative. He can ski. We can't say cans. We can't add S to the auxiliary verb or the modal verb. Would you like to come with me? I can say, do you would like to come with me? They can't be serious. In negative, I can say, they can't be serious. Modal verbs don't have infinitives or ing forms. I can say to can or can plus ing, to must plus ing. Modal verbs are followed by an infinitive without to. I mean the base form of the verb. We can call it bare infinitive. She must study. Study here is the base form of the verb. We should have gone the other way. He could play football in his youth. It's a general ability. Must, should, could are followed by the base form of the verb. Modal verbs don't have all the tenses. Modal verbs use other verbs to complete the tenses. For example, can is completed with be able to. Must is completed with have to. There are three categories of modal verbs: single concept modals, double concept modals, and modals in the past. The first category, single concept modals like will, might, should, ought to, had better. Double concept modals like may, must, would, shall, could, and can. Modals in the past: would have, could have, might have, should have, may have, and must have. Single concept modals. The modal will, the concept is future. Example, Joe will travel to New York next week. Might, express probability. For example, I might move to Canada someday. Should, expresses recommendation. For example, you should go to the doctor. It's an advice. Ought to, expresses formal recommendation. For example, we ought to know about first aids. Had better, expressing warning. I had better study or I will fail the test. Let's move to double concept model. May, expresses permission and good probability. For example, may I come in? It's a permission, asking for a permission. In good probability, we may visit Mexico this summer. Maybe yes, maybe no. Must expresses responsibility or obligation and also assumption. For example, everyone must pay taxes. It's obligation, it's our responsibility to pay taxes. If we want to express assumption, she didn't arrive, she must be sick. So I predict or guess that she is sick. Would, to use or to express past, used to in the past, and present and real. For example, when I was young, I would play soccer. I used to play soccer when I was young. I would buy the car, but I can't afford it. A last tip. There are few verbs which often serve as modal too. There are modal-like verbs. They need to be conjugated. For example, like to, want to, need to, have got to, look forward to. Like to expresses enjoy. I like to watch TV. So it means that I enjoy watching TV. Want to expresses desire. John wants to buy a car. Need to expresses necessity. It's necessary to do something. We really needed to talk to you. So it's necessary to talk to you. Also have to. It expresses obligation or necessity. Like Susan had to pay the rent. It's an obligation. Have got to, like have to, I have got to go now. Look forward to expresses future plan. I look forward to seeing you again. I look forward to receiving from you as soon as possible, like that. Let's practice. Children, be accompanied by an adult at the zoo. What do you expect the right choice? Mustn't, would, must, ought to. The answer is must be accompanied by an adult at the zoo. Children must be accompanied by an adult at the zoo. Number 2. You, space, talk during tests. It's forbidden. You are not allowed to do that. Ought to, couldn't, mustn't, don't have to. The answer is mustn't. You mustn't talk during tests. It's forbidden. Number 3. I can feel the heat. We, space, be near the fire. Have to, must, would, can. I can feel the heat. We must be near the fire. It's assumption. Number 4. They space hear him because he was whispering. Couldn't, shouldn't, mustn't, wouldn't. The answer is couldn't. They couldn't hear him because he was whispering. Number 5. You've never heard of Britney Spears? You space be serious. Shouldn't, can't, had to, must. The correct answer is can't. You have never heard of Britney Spears? You can't be serious. Thank you so much. See you in the next part.